Welcome back to the LCS and Summer Split 2024. If you're just now joining us, we're in the middle of a series between NRG and Dignitas with a game number one that the most common sentence I saw online about it afterwards is, what just happened? Because it felt really close for really long, and then all of a sudden it was over and Dig took the dub.
And right before Dig took the dub, it felt like NRG had just taken the dub, which gives us this weird sense of shell shock that now Dignitas is one game away from winning the series. And one thing I just have to call it out.
Okay.
I love how fast we go from end of game one to game two champ select.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, it's
Thank
the
you,
best.
LCS.
It's the best.
It's
good job, Mark.
Yes.
And everyone behind the scenes that makes it happen, because not everybody can do this.
Yeah, no, this is fantastic. We do have the Nidalee and the Ivern banned out by NRG. Remember the last time around, I believe it was the Lilia they banned away instead of the Ivern, so they're going to change that up a little bit. The K'Sante going to remain banned. Senna, Sejuani, and Aurora, I do believe those are the same three first phase bans that Dig had in the previous game. And NRG, you know, they're just going to keep running back more of these similarities. First lock on the Rumble once more.
Absolutely. So because NRG lost the game, they got choice of side select. They decided to stay blue, and their adjustment was a jungle ban change. I don't think NRG expected the Ivern takeaway, and we're kind of hoping that it could fall to Contractz since it's something he is so good at. But there were also a number of times in that game where it looked like NRG was about to break it open, and then an Ivern shield or an Ivern redemption or an Ivern Mikhails would just keep this darn game alive before Dignitas could come back. And they are in for more Skarner. Sign them up.
Yeah, I mean, sign me up. I'm always down for this. We got to see kind of some of the struggles, but also some of the victories of the champion in the previous game. It felt like he was made of paper up until the Thimble Winter was completed, but after he got those shields, that increased the survivability by a substantial amount.
It really did, and that was with early ganking actually killing Dholka in the lane phase. Yeah. So signing up for more of that, and I don't think NRG is actually making that many changes. They're saying the Ivern was the problem. Yeah. This 1-2-3, if they end up blocking in the Lucian, is going to be exactly the same as they did in game one. And I don't necessarily hate this because, like we said, they were in a lot of winning positions for a large percentage of that game one.
Yeah, and essentially that's what they're calling out by running this back, right? They're saying, all right, it wasn't in the planning phase, it was in the execution phase. That's where the problems occurred, and so they're going to keep going with this. Dignitas, though, they're not allowed to run back their jungler, so instead we're going to switch it up. We're going to go with a different plant. It's Zyra for Spica.
Much more damage.
Yes.
So even though there have been a bunch of AP jungle nerfs, small taps to champions, the core of it with the itemization hasn't been changed, so it's still an incredibly fast clearing jungler. And I think maybe if we're talking about just the jungle matchup, more in favor for Spica this game than it was in the first game, just with how quickly Zyra can full clear, and then more so how much damage Zyra can do in mid and late game teamfights.
I mean, it's the structure we've seen in the jungle for the past few weeks, ever since Faded Ashes became an item and Tristana and Corki took over mid with these AP junglers. If you're going to play a traditional tank-style jungler into these AP turbo clear champions, you must be able to make something happen early. You must be able to affect the lanes and have an impact on the game, because if you do not, you will be out-farmed. It's not a question.
Yeah, but also on the other side, when you pick Zyra fairly early in the draft, NRG can still try and figure out a team comp that isn't necessarily weak in or good into Zyra, because like if you're trying to really dive on top of a team with Zyra Ashe, you're going to have a bad time. Yeah. But if you can pick some higher mobility or longer range champions, you can kind of just poke Zyra out before a lot of these fights. So that's why I do like the Ezreal ban adaptation from Dignitas as well. FBI's Ezreal not only was very good, is also very good against Zyra. So we'll see what they end up going with in the bot lane for game two.
Trist remaining banned. I feel like, okay, how come Tristana didn't get as many nerfs as Skarner did? Because Tristana's taking up the game too, Jatt. What's going on?
Tristana did get a lot of nerfs.
Well, she needs more.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Very strong champion. Very strong champion alongside that Corki. Both, again, are going to be removed. Last game, Jensen played the Zeri. A lot of us, you and me both, I think, were questioning whether or not he would be willing to go with something like that. He was. He had a couple of big moments. He had a couple of pings.
He did.
Question marks.
He did. Only one actual death, it felt like, in the game. So, not that bad. I want to make actually a quick point on the Trist and its inability to leave the meta, and how hard it is to actually balance for pro, because the nerfs that Trist got in patch 14.14 hurt Trist by 5% win rate.
That's huge.
So in almost all cases, it was too weak. But Pro is so incredibly contextual.
Yes.
The actual Trist matchups that pros play, which is like Trist into Corki or Trist into Lucian, didn't change that much.
Right.
Even if the overall win rate got completely tanked. So a lot of times when you're nerfing for Pro, it's like you actually need to somehow nerf for a specific matchup, which is a really difficult task.
Right. It's not like it's
Weird.
Tristana versus LeBlanc in solo queue at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Everybody's on their 17th game of the day, right? It's just not the same ball game. But we do have the Jhin locked in for the side of NRG. So a lot of extra help here with the setup, a lot of that extra range like what you were talking about. If you're going to try to deal with something like an Ashe or a Zyra, hit him with the range, lock him up, pick him off. We've also got the Leona there for the additional engage for NRG's side. Now back over to Dignitas, final pick of the draft. What do we want to see here?
We're looking right now at the support choice. I want to see them have some strong engage. They took the Leona away. It's actually not that strong of a lane, so they need to play fairly well in the laning phase, which they didn't do last game against the Ezreal Braum.
Yep.
But without a strong go button to pair up with the Skarner Ashe, they wouldn't have the same pick potential they had in game 1. So understand that choice from us.
Yeah, I really like the fact that they've got a huge team fight engage just because of the fact that if you don't pick this, your only real way to engage is Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and we already saw in the previous game, it's very easy if the enemy AD carry already feels compelled to run cleanse. He can just eat the arrow, cleanse it off, walk away with minus 200 HP, and he's fine.
Yeah. I mean, what was lost in that game 1 crazy ending is how great FBI played the entire game.
Yeah.
Like, he was crushing laning phase, he was landing so many Qs, he was timing his cleanse immaculately and baited Dignitas into a couple fights, it really felt like. It just wasn't enough. So if FBI keeps his confidence here in game 2, maybe we'll run it back for a game 3.
So most of the composition on NRG's side is the same of what we saw in the first game, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of similarities.
The core of it.
Yeah. What do you want to see change, particularly about the play, if they want to bring us to a third game?
So it's interesting because NRG won 80 to 90% of that game 1. So I don't want them to make huge changes. I want them to start stacking Drakes earlier. Would be one thing. I think Dholka should naturally win that top lane. So I do want to see NRG go more with the type of jungle proximity they've had throughout the regular season. That is one difference I saw between Contractz and Spica is in general, Contractz ganks more, and specifically ganks bot a lot more. So win that bot lane, get bot prio, but turn it into early Drakes, because then they can accelerate that game faster and threaten Soul if things go well.
All right, let's do it. Back onto the Rift for game number 2 of the day. Dignitas, if they win this one, will find their second series win of Summer Split 2024. Both AD carries running cleanse. As you can see, Huhi with the Ignite there on the Leona versus Isles running the heal. When you're up against something like a Jhin or Leona that has that much lockdown, that much burst, you want to make sure you're ready to survive that. Everything else pretty stock standard across the board here. The big thing I'm going to be watching compared to game number 1 is this Zyra pick. I want to see what Spica can do, accelerating the tempo of the early game and putting the pressure on NRG to make a move.
Yeah, and I want to see if there's any disruption to that early jungle path. Another thing we want to check on as we're looking at Dignitas' playoff chances, a win puts them in a way higher chance, is Zven. He's never missed playoffs.
Damn.
In LCS or LEC. And this guy's been playing since 2015 when he was on OG Origin as Niels.
Yeah, OG Niels, man. Went
to World Semifinals in Europe that year. But in any team he's bounced around, in any region he's played in, this man has always made playoffs. And it's got to be a strange experience for him, this split, after taking a split off, role swapping back to AD carry, popping off in some of the early games, setting a Smolder world record for stacks, and then just losing a bunch of games.
Yeah.
He didn't have a good Ashe game either. So to get that win and now be able to close out this series, let's see if his veteran status washes that first game away and lets him have a solid performance here in game 2.
And it's not just the fact that he's never missed playoffs, like if we look at the accomplishments this guy has historically, he's one of the only players who's ever won in both Europe and North America, holding a title. It's really impressive. The guy's career is storied, but right now, he's got to prove it again, right?
He does. different roles as well. Played support for the last 2 years as Palafox, going a little bit all in on Jensen.
Yeah.
Just Zeri things, though. Hop over the wall.
No, exactly. He hops over the wall before Lucian gets the Light Slinger passive for the double autos, so it makes the trade significantly less impressive than it otherwise would have been. Meanwhile, back up here in the top, so never mind. I shouldn't have talked about topside. Sorry, Palafox.
But it's fine. He traded flashes, Zeri and Lucian, and he's going to teleport back anyway. He's not going to lose that many minions.
All planned.
It's fine.
Okay.
Jensen's the man. He's undefeated on Zeri. He's 1-0, 100% win rate.
You know, one of the things I appreciate the most about you is how you can say stats like that, which completely don't matter, but with a dead serious face. Like, you are 100% presenting that stat as legitimate.
It's a, are you paying attention check? Because if you're not, you're going to have some fake news.
Well, there's not a whole lot of other news to talk about on the Rift here just yet. Both of our junglers continuing their clears right now. You can kind of just see the speed difference already being showcased with the fact that Spica is already done with his first 6 camps before those crabs spawn. The spawn now of that bottom one as Spica is immediately ready to take it away. You can see Contractz working his way up into that top side river now, going after that one, but a few seconds delayed compared to his counterpart. Spica might be able to make something happen here mid, but...
Yeah, I think for the most part, this is actually a win for Maokai because due to having the Rumble push in the top lane and the Lucian push in the mid lane, there ain't no way Spica's trying to double crab. So the big contest will actually be these Raptors since they know where Maokai started and they've actually moved the Rakan up.
Oh,
no flash.
Isles with the engage. They lock him up. They beat him down. Palafox with 100 HP, but it ain't going to matter. First blood over to Jensen.
Beautifully done there by Dignitas. They had roamed the support up to potentially go for Raptors, but they see a much bigger prize with the flashless Lucian. And, you know, remember when I said it was fine that they traded flashes? Mm-hmm. That's why it's fine.
It was more than fine.
No flash Lucian.
Yeah, more than fine now. They commit the resources. They bring up the support and jungle duo, and Jensen gets off to a nice early lead because of it.
And you can see the top lane wave, though, is in a difficult spot right now for Licorice. Dholka's trying to hold a freeze, and Licorice now no teleport and no wards. He doesn't know that Maokai is completely bot lane, so he's got to take a risk here to shove this wave in, but looks like he'll actually be able to do it no problem.
Yeah, Licorice having, I think, the identical first purchase of the previous game, going back when he has enough money to buy both the tier and the null magic mantle. Rumble does a whole lot of damage in the laning phase. That's kind of an obvious thing for anybody who's ever laned against him. Yeah. But also the fact the Electro Harpoons shred your magic resistance kind of really punctuates how much you need some of that early MR to not just immediately die if you're past the halfway point in the lane.
Yeah, and Licorice needs to continue to shove that wave in because he's not getting help anytime soon. This dragon is what is going to be next up. And I did say I wanted NRG to take control of early Drake, but because the mid lane has gone slightly in the side of Dignitas, it's a bit harder. He still hits level 6 first, though, so he should get mid push. And it looks like they're starting on this dragon in 6 minutes. Pretty good.
Okay, NRG starting up the objective, but Dignitas is aware of what's going on. Isles is just trying to annoy them here a little bit. Spica is also in the area, but currently clearing his Gromp. The wave bottom is the big issue here for Dignitas. With that about to crash into the turret, including a cannon, it looks like NRG is pretty safe to take the Drake, considering their mid lane control alongside it.
And the big thing is Dholka's held this teleport this whole time. Licorice already teleported back to wave. Yeah. So no way Dig is going into river when a potential level 6 Rumble could teleport in and break open the game. Totally fine giving away that Mountain Drake.
Yeah, that one's pretty risky, the nature of those teleports. And I mean, even though it is early on in the game, even though you can still only teleport to the turret, considering how slow the dragon does die early on, it's still going to be very threatening considering how long range and how impactful the equalizer is as Spica. Just one last auto attack there from the plant to secure that Scuttle Crab. Licorice, if he was any other champion, he might be stuck inside the pit, but he can just tunnel through the wall. Meanwhile, 2v2 in the bottom side as Isles tries to get away the curtain call.
A lot of damage, though.
Oh, wanted to try to curve the bullet around Zven there to see if maybe he could get the pick on Isles, but just not quite enough. So FBI and Huhi are going to have to settle for lane control instead.
And this game, even though it's going a little bit better for Dignitas in terms of gold, is playing out a lot like Game 1 in terms of map state. NRG still getting push bot, push mid most of the time, push top. It's just a matter of being able to convert this into big advantages on the map. Like they're, yes, just getting their first plate. They did get the Drake earlier.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, you know, an embarrassment of riches here that NRG can pick from anything, and they just need to pick one and execute it well to actually build this game open.
And when you think back to NRG's peak, when you think back to last year's Summer NRG that shocked everyone by winning the LCS and then went on to Worlds and had their own impressive performances there, a lot of the time, the thing that set this team apart from their competition was the coordination. It was the team play. It was the fact that they were unafraid to take these fights because they had the communication and the trust to execute, and that's kind of where we saw them fall short in the previous game.
I think so, and the big thing that I saw was just like the way they used to play side lanes. They create so much action with flanks and side lane pressure and the ability to collapse and create fights. That's been missing, and it's a tricky discussion because Palafox has played a little bit better towards this part of the split, but the 2023 version of Palafox versus what we've seen in 2024 has been a relatively large drop-off. He was actually winning most of the lane last game against Jensen in the early stages, but then by later in the game was down 40 or 50 CS. So like the way that they're thinking about side lanes and trading farm has not been as effective as it was in the last year.
And we even heard Palafox himself back last split in spring talk about his own shortcomings, talk about not measuring up to the level that he wanted to play, not measuring up to his own expectations. So for NRG, I think everybody, specifically themselves, they really want to get back to that form. They want to be able to kind of find that coordination we're talking about, the ability to make fights, the ability to force their opponents into a scrappy situation that they might not be ready for.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had a discussion on the lounge about who the fourth best team in the LCS was. This game is going to dictate a lot of that as we watch Huhi thinking about coming up here, but Licorice he's way out of there.
Yeah.
They are actually technically in fourth. And because so many teams have one win and NRG has 2 wins, in terms of their playoff chances, a win is rather important.
Yes.
A win is rather good for them because if they win this game, they would lock themselves playoffs. So losing the first game, definitely not the best thing for them.
Right.
And, you know, they're just not able to break this game open. I keep waiting for it. And here you see 2-0 locked, 2 unlocked. Even a loss gives them a pretty good chance, but you never know with the way these things crack out. 89% chance if they get 0-2 here.
Right, and I guess that's the biggest difference I'm looking at is the difference between a 1-2 and an 0-2, even if you drop it, right? If you get 0-2'd, there's still a 1 out of 10 chance that you don't make it based on these statistics. If you get 1-2'd, there's only 1 out of 50 scenarios where you don't make it in. So even just a single game win in this series is a multiplier of like 5 for your chances.
Yeah, and they're not necessarily thinking about the pure percentages. They're just thinking, man, we should beat Dignitas. But
right, yes.
and they feel like they should have in game 1. They definitely should still have the ability to feel like the better team. But I got to say, Dignitas is in a much better state here in game 2 than they were in game 1 because despite them not having any prio lanes, they're up 500 gold and only down 1 Drake. And if they can stop this dragon stacking, it's going to buy them so much time, which is, I think, why they have such early setup here with Jensen and Isles already getting some deep wards on this Drake.
Yeah, that Drake spawning in just about 20 seconds here. We can see Zven clearing out this minion wave here in the bottom side. There's a lot of vision placed down in this NRG red side jungle. They clear out a little bit of it, but there's still plenty. Contractz going to find the ward there on his own Krug pit. Meanwhile, Isles could be caught out. Immediately, Battle dances right back to the safety of Spica. These two, again, working together, moving forward to clear the wards as a team so that Isles can be the man on point and immediately retreat back to his ally if need be.
This is a very interesting fight here because Palafox is slowly moving out towards Skarner. They could both teleport back to the fight, but NRG is kind of looking to slow play this more than anything. Otherwise, I think they would have brought 5 immediately and tried to have Licorice teleport down. You can see they're not strong enough and definitely don't think they're strong enough to just straight up start this Drake. So it's going to be slow. That's a good bit of damage by Spica.
Oh, Contractz mistiming the twisted advance. He wanted to use it to get out of the knockup of the Stranglethorns, but it ain't going to matter. Isles burning away, and Huhi taking a kill on that one. Now flashing out of the potential follow-up there from the Zyra. Spica and Zven still after the enemy support as now a TP's coming in, but Licorice and Jensen are coming around from the side. The lightning crashes, and a double kill for the Ashe. Now the curtain call opens, and Jensen's got to be careful. Spica's going to eat the bullets, but the bullets do not feel good. Dholka ends up coming in with a flame spitter to finish that one off. It's a bloody battle. Summoner spells and ultis being thrown left, right, and center.
You can see how much priority these teams are putting on the Drake. It is both of those players that were top lane teleporting into the fight. 2 for 2, I believe, as we had that split fight. They're going for more.
Another one. Palafox sticking around too long. The punish, and Jensen gets paid.
If they look back at this series, those 2 kills from Zeri onto the Lucian are going to be so crucial. The start of this fight, I loved the damage that Spica got onto Contractz, but that kind of baits Dig into the river, and I love that initial turn by Huhi to get one back right at the start onto Isles. And then look at this Skarner, man. Even if he's weaker in laning phase and has lower general numbers, the amount of distance he was able to close there to help secure that kill was just massive. And then some nice trading and dodging here, spreading apart for that last 4th shot. May have at least saved Jensen, even if Dholka cleans up the kill onto Spica.
So somebody please check in on this, man. Between the reactions we saw in game number 1 and now in game number 2, ThinkCard clearly feeling the stress of this one, as you also saw the player cam on Palafox, a little frustration on his face for his own performance here in this game, 0, 2, and 1 on the Lucian.
Yeah, and if it gets to a point where Jensen can start winning the 1v1 against both the Rumble and the Lucian, that's going to make it so much easier for Dignitas to actually win this game, because then they can set up around objectives with Zyra plans to make it impossible for NRG to step in. So actually even more important that Dig is a bit ahead in this game than when they had the Ivern, because Ivern can play so much better defensively due to the shields. And I think one thing Dignitas is also really happy about, as Palafox gets a trade in, is the fact that we're 14 minutes in and there's still just one Drake. So the Soul is by no means a close threat to them in their ability to draw this game out and get the items they want on Skarner, Zeri, and Ashe.
And the Void Grubs, a very similar situation to the previous game, but now a little bit of a problem for Palafox. The culling in the face of the enemy support does guarantee his safety, but now Spica's here in the bottom lane. It's Licorice and Spica working together for some 2v1 fun. Dholka's done. Spica takes the kill, and Zyra's on the board.
And that's the play. That's the type of top laner you want as a farming jungler. He just sets it up for you, pulls the man back, keeps him still, so there's no chance you miss your skill shot, and then he gives you the kill too. Oh man, Skarner's so nice.
A+ service, man. Put a bow on top of it. That one is gifted right on over. Palafox and Huhi gonna try to get some damage on this top lane tier 1 turret. Void Grubs, same situation as game number 1, 5-1 in favor of NRG here, so they've got some extra pushing potential, but that was a nice enchanted crystal arrow from a long way away, but it's not really gonna matter. Even though Palafox has no cleanse, nobody was in range to follow up on Zven's good shot. Yeah,
but they burned the Huhi ultimate as well, because Huhi was afraid that Dignitas was going to be able to close the gap while Palafox was hit by that Ashe arrow stun. So now with no Leona ultimate, it gives Dignitas a lot more confidence to just move into this river and completely clean away the vision. Looks like they're going to start off the Rift Herald as well. So the extended consequence of that Ashe arrow could end up being pretty good for Dignitas.
Exactly. The timing on the neutral objectives is so critical in situations like these. But if we're talking about neutral objectives, a minor neutral objective in the blue buff as Spica just smites it away. So, hey, you'll take that. That's a dub.
And I think Dignitas is just getting super comfortable here, just not rushing any objectives off the map, because Jensen's free hitting turrets. He's a level up on Palafox. Licorice, even if he's getting pushed in by Dholka, knows he has kill threat and has proved it by getting the kill in the 2v1. So Dig is kind of freezing this game state as long as they can, and it's on NRG to make difficult plays from a deficit. So let's see if any sense of desperation comes in the next couple minutes from NRG.
And that deficit feels a lot more meaningful than the numbers might have you believe if you're just looking at kills. 5-2 is not particularly impressive or bloody in a game of League of Legends, but a 2,000 gold lead 16.5 minutes in is a legitimate advantage in terms of any sort of fight where you're not, underneath an enemy turret or something. In open ground, Dignitas really does have the edge.
Yeah, combat power is the biggest thing. We will say we don't have the Thimble Winter on Skarner yet, which is what really turned him on in teamfights in that last game. Right. So NRG is willing to at least start this Drake. I think they actually have to, but the danger now is if Zyra or Ashe start a good fight against them, it could end up kind of ending the game because their gold lead could get way, basically the gold difference could get way bigger here if they lose this fight.
The big thing for NRG, they're on one item spikes, so is Dig, so NRG is willing to fight with that similarity, and Dignitas knows that despite the gold lead, items are what matters. They can't just strong arm their way in. NRG doing a good job securing that second Drake of the game.
Yes, but I also think Dignitas is totally fine with that because Jensen just opts not to teleport in. He gets the first turret of the game, which gives him even more of an advantage now. Look at that, 2.3 thousand is his gold lead over Palafox's Lucian.
It's a lot.
So it is a little bit of a risk because it means they'll have to contest a potential third Drake, soul point, or actual soul more quickly, but it just puts more eggs in the Jensen basket, which, you know, not 100% reliable based on the last game. Yes, he is undefeated on Zeri. He's 1-0.
Right.
But right
Very
before they
stat.
won the game, he did fly into their whole team and get one shot. So I love that Jensen has the confidence in himself to say, I'm taking this turret, I'm getting the gold, but now he's got to pay it off because I think they're actually strong enough to contest that Drake.
Okay.
But instead, he decided for the quote optimal play of getting the guaranteed first turret for the carry Zeri.
Okay, we've got 4,000 gold lead for Dignitas. But NRG, they want to take a fight. They're going after the Herald. It's down to 4,000 HP, but it's going to reset now. Nice interruption there on the curtain call. Herald goes back to where it came from. NRG has dominated the neutral objective game thus far. Both Drakes and 5 out of 6 of the Grubs. They wanted to continue that control here 18.5 minutes into the game, but Dignitas, ready to step up and answer them, now have control over the Herald pit for themselves. And it looks like NRG don't have the firepower, don't have the manpower to try to push back up and contest it. Should be Rift Herald for Dig.
Definitely should be. It's reset a couple times, though. It's probably this is taking about 25,000 damage of its 10,000 health bar at the moment. But once they get this Herald, they should be able to use it to maybe even break open the mid turret, which would then allow all 3 outer turrets to be taken in a game where they only got 1 of 6 Grubs. So a lot of control now and setup being accomplished for Dig. I think another big difference in this game is how Zven is not on the back foot. If you remember in game 1 on the Ashe, even though they were against Braum Ezreal, it felt like he was completely trapped under his turret. Anytime a Braum Q would land, he'd be under threat of dying. He seemed like he was constantly without summoner spells. Here he's kind of pushing freely, hawk-shotting all over the map, always has his summoner spells, seems much more difficult to close onto. So he's in a very comfortable position on the same champion compared to game 1.
Yeah, and man, this gold lead, I was talking about how 2,000 gold at, 16, 17 minutes into the game felt really good.
Yeah.
4,500 just about 20 minutes into the game, not even there yet. A little bit more damage into this tier 1 would have put him over the 5K mark. Honestly, it just feels like NRG is passively bleeding out as we go forward.
They really are, and they do have some pick potential with the Leona Jhin, but then they're all in damage trying to fly into a Zyra, Zeri, Skarner.
So
it's so tough. So for how much control NRG had in game 1, they're in a really difficult spot here in game 2, which if they lose would just mean they get 2-0'd by Dig, and Dig would obviously be very happy about that.
Oh, yeah.
Since they've only had 1 win this whole time. They get Contractz.
Again, Contractz trying to dodge skill shots with the use of the Twisted Advance, but it ain't going to work. Jensen goes on a killing spree, but it is a trade 1-for-1 as Isles is the sacrifice. Curtain call from FBI at least forces Dig to leave, not look for anything else.
Close to being great for Dig. It ends up being a bit of a nothing burger, I feel like, because I'm looking at summoner spells as well, and the carries generally still have flashes. Zven losing cleanse could be impactful later, but for the most part, that's just a bit of trading gold and reset, as I think the big thing we'll see is in 1 minute, 5 seconds that next Drake is going to spawn.
All right, that next Drake could be huge, considering not only is it the 2-0 Drake lead early on for NRG, but the quality of Drake matters as much as the quantity of Drake, I feel like, Jatt, because this is a Hex Drake. This is the one everybody wants. This thing is awesome. If this was a Chem Rift or something, we would kind of be like, wow, NRG's, they're in really bad position.
Dholka does have flash, but Skarner is fast boy.
Yeah, Licorice goes for the ulti, but he ain't going to find it. Equalizer now being used defensively, and Dholka just walks it off. Old Skarner, you can't miss those. New Skarner, you can sidestep it.
Very true. A great escape by Dholka right there, but it does mean he's still pushed back Dignitas taking complete control of this Baron side. I really want to see them move quickly towards that bot side. They cannot be trading any more objectives away. They have good enough vision. I think they should feel safe to move down for this Hex Drake.
Also, that tier 1 turret barely clinging to life on NRG's side. FBI has the wave clear to guarantee that it stays standing. I actually think that could be a lot more important than it initially appears, considering the fact that it's highly likely we get a fight over this next Drake.
Yeah.
That's a bastion of safety to retreat to if things go south. But maybe we don't get a fight after all.
Yeah.
NRG just kind of seems to be yielding the fact that, hey, we're down a lot of gold. We can't really take this. Instead, that's going to be first Drake of the game for Dignitas.
And they don't have enough damage to actually threaten Baron with the Jhin and like a 2-item Lucian up top lane. I'm waiting for this Herald to be summoned. Finally, it's 22 minutes, 30 seconds into the game, so it was probably about to expire. It's actually running bot side, but there's a fight!
Oh, immediate double engage coming out from Isles. The dive is there, and Jensen's on a rampage. Beautifully done. They nearly got FBI alongside it. He had to spend both summoner spells just to live, and the tier 1 finally falls.
Yeah, I gotta apologize. The Herald distracted me. It ran down bot side as they were engaging in that mid-fight. So 3 turrets now to 1. Not able to get that bottom turret, but that'll be standing there for probably the Zeri to pick up in a couple minutes. What is this gold lead now? 5,200 for Dig. And a 4-0-1 Jensen Zeri.
And the other thing that you have to be either scared of or respectful of, depending on how you want to phrase it, if you're NRG, when Zyra's in the game, Baron is always an option for the enemy team, right? If they go for the previous Drake, Dignitas can just strangle Thorns the Baron if NRG isn't paying attention. Zyra burns that thing down so quickly. So for NRG, when you're already down over 5,000 gold 23 minutes into the game, if even a single player gets picked off and you're not immediately ready to respond, Dignitas could have a really good angle here on the Baron, but now it's Isles getting caught out. This is exactly what NRG needed. The Dignitas support is down.
It is. Credit to Contractz. He immediately flashed W'd that and did not allow Isles to escape, but Isles is definitely caught out there. But just the raw power of the 4 champions that Dig have here, it does feel like a bit of a trap for NRG to start this Baron, but they gotta try. So they have Leona ult and Maokai ult if Dig step up, and they're not even able to get it low because the threat from Dig is too high.
Zyra loves these neutral objectives. If you ever look at the targeting circle for Zyra's ulti, it lays over these neutral objective pits almost perfectly. It's like it's designed for them. Jensen with a quick Zeri hop, skip, and a jump back over the wall. He's got Isles coming in to help him. Palafox wanted to chase after this, but you got to be careful, man. League of Legends is a team game, and Jensen is not alone. NRG thought maybe that was their moment. Maybe that was the punish, but it isn't going to work out here so far.
Yeah, they have to try those types of things because they are so far down in this game to just blow a bunch of cooldowns on the guy that doesn't have cleanse. So if they were able to actually hit Jensen with that Leona ultimate, you know, it actually probably would have been a kill. And that would have been something that they could think about starting the Baron with. But they missed that swing, so that means they now have to reset, recall, and lose control of this Baron, which, with Zeri Zyra, can go down very fast.
Spica also with the Verdant Barrier. Very powerful item against the composition they're dealing with. Licorice the target here as NRG wants to try to make their approach, but the Scorpion's job is to just keep everybody else away. Equalizer drops down. Dignitas might just get caught. Instead, they get the Baron and everybody's ready to try to get away for now. Licorice should at least die. So NRG takes 1 kill, but they have lost the Baron. Palafox wants to go after Jensen. He flashes in! Palafox! That was not it!
I'm impressed with Jensen's play there, actually. Flashing to the other side of the wall, instantly bursting back damage. You can really just see the desperation within everything that NRG does. They get 1 after the Baron, but they think they're still down in gold. And FBI! Woo,
get cleanse.
It's fine.
It would have just been Summoner Spell.
Yep.
But
no desperation there. Anyway, Palafox down 1 more time. That's every time Palafox has tried to do something against Jensen, he's died.
Yeah.
3 for 3. That's all of his deaths in this game.
And that feels really bad. And again, going back to what we saw earlier, the player reaction cam, you could see the frustration. It feels like it's getting to him.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're just up here on the caster desk. We don't have the comms. I can't say for sure, but it's got to be frustrating because like you've been talking about, when you're slowly bleeding out in the game, you feel that pressure. You've got to make a move. And when every time you try to make that call, it doesn't work out, it starts to rattle you.
It really does. And now with the Baron buff, Dignitas can threaten on multiple different fronts. Jensen up in the top lane, still has teleport if he wants to join. He has full shove. And now Dignitas just able to slowly push in this bot lane. The Skarner is completely online once again, so it's been a very solid pick for them in both of these games. Even though everyone else has abandoned this champion, Licorice looking pretty solid on it.
My boy Eric Ritchie, he knows good champions when he sees them.
The Malphite,
yeah,
the Skarner.
Yeah.
You never know. Poppy.
It's big playmakers, man. It's just big playmakers, as we do have structures crumbling across Summoner's Rift. Jatt, you know the only thing better than a 5,000 gold lead is a 6,000 gold lead, a 7,000 gold leads, an 8,000 gold lead for Dignitas 27 minutes into the game. They still have the Baron for another 60 seconds on top of it. I'm struggling to find an angle for NRG back into this game.
Yeah, so on one side, Jensen is undefeated on Zeri.
Right.
On the other side,
Can't be
it's
undefeated.
just his second Zeri game. So you never know. That's the window that I'll have back in this game as Licorice prevents Contractz from being able to steal it. Then Dig actually just decide to bail out of this fight and kind of leave Licorice to die. But, you know, he's a big man. He takes one for the team. He's a team player. Doesn't care about that. And 5,000. Okay, reset. 5,000 gold for Zeri.
Yeah, that's quite a lot.
That's the way back. That 5,000 gold lead has to die.
Yeah.
If you don't kill that 5,000 gold lead, you're not winning the game.
But on the other hand, if you do manage to start a fight by picking off the Zeri, the rest of the fight now becomes really manageable, even if you have to spend a lot of resources to kill her just because she's so much of the value. This is a Zeri with Infinity Edge, Shield Bow, Static Shift, Hurricane. This champion is out of control right now as Zven goes for the arrow, and now the engage coming out from Dig. Counter engage from the Maokai ulti, just looking to buy some time, get everybody away. Huhi survives.
2 teleports expended by Dig as well. I think they thought that was the fight, but that's actually great for NRG, getting both of those teleports from a team that is 8,500 gold ahead of them. So I almost kind of feel like unless NRG try a hard engage, I think they can actually get through the next 2 or 3 minutes just losing an outer turret. Dignitas used a lot there for nothing.
Yeah, Dignitas not getting anything. When you're this far ahead, I mean, you got to get more than that from the teleports, right?
Yeah.
Like I fully agree. That is a win for NRG. They still have a lot of catching up to do. Again, the Zeri is the name of the game. Banshee's Veil fully completed for Spica, Zyra. Contractz.
That's a hit.
That one's what they were looking for. Jensen is dominating. Isles using the quickness and getting right on back out. Now the zap connects, and Huhi's got to be a little bit careful. Licorice coming around. He wants the pull. He's gone fishing, and he caught a big one. Licorice setting up Jensen for a godlike spree. That last shot of the curtain call, they're waiting for the execution damage. Licorice staying alive for now, but Jensen goes in. He's got a double kill, and he might just be able to find some more. Not quite there. No flash, so he can't close the distance on Dholka, but it is 3 dead bodies in NRG jerseys. It is nobody lost on the side of Dig, and they're pushing into the base.
This could be it for Dignitas. This could be the 2-0 against NRG. They do have no Baron. FBI and Dholka might try and hold on, but it's going to be tough.
5 seconds on 2 remaining players for NRG until they respawn. The timers on Huhi and Contractz are short enough that NRG holds on, but Jatt, it's a 12,000 gold deficit. It's more and more problems for the side of NRG. Contractz going in, flashing over the wall to find the kill here on Spica, but now he might be in some danger of his own as the solar flare comes down over the top. Contractz trying to get away, but Zven grabs a killing spree. Jensen drops. Huge shutdown back over to NRG as Licorice makes a hasty escape. Dignitas lose 2 of their own guys on the way out.
This could be one of those games. And NRG really hopes that it's one of those games, because that's the only way they're coming back from this 11,000 gold deficit against this Fed of Zeri. But you can see here the one-shot potential with an Ashe arrow is absolutely there. They completely melt the Maokai. And what an absolute unit Licorice has become in this game. Not only does he get the engage, he then just, a mile ahead of his team, just eats all the Jhin bullets, only to bait them in to then have it turned around by the Zeri. So, massive performance here by Dig after having such a hard schedule, after dropping unexpectedly 2-0 to Shopify Rebellion last week.
Yeah.
If they can turn that around and have this 2-0 and also a 2-0 where Jensen's expanding his champion pool, not just playing the control mages, can make them such a bigger threat as they move towards playoffs. So 2-0 as well, as we saw earlier, gives them an 89% of remaining scenarios they would be a playoff team. So that's what a win means here for Dig.
All right, both supports taking a beating here in the front lines as Isles disengages and Jensen picks up another one. I got to continue to give some credit over to Zven. We were talking about his underwhelming performance in the first game. He is still deathless here in the second. His arrows have been setting up plays and confirming kills throughout the game. And Dignitas now has a 5v4 with Baron on the Rift.
You know, I hadn't thought about this, and I'd have to go check the VOD. I bet you he's had really good hawk shots. I bet you those years as a support was like, you know, I'd love to be able to ward literally anywhere on the map whenever I want.
Yeah.
So he's got to be helping them pick up vision. He's landing great arrows.
The multi-role talent, but now the Maokai ulti leading the charge as Isles makes the engage. It's problems for NRG as Contractz in the front line is going to be melted, and Jensen finds yet another kill. A beautiful grab coming out from Licorice. FBI flashing away from the Strangled Thorns. Immediately has to cleanse as the enchanted crystal arrows looking to run him down. Palafox dies again. Dholka dies next to him. It's a bloodbath. Dignitas takes out everybody.
2-0 for Dignitas. They're going to pick up their second win of the summer split. 10-1 for Jensen. 4-0-10 for Zven's Ashe. Nice game by Dignitas.
The first game was close until it wasn't. The second one was big dig all the way. They're going to bounce back after their loss last week. They're going to grab their second series win of the split and take out NRG.
And that's some relief you see from Dignitas. With this new format, moving into week 6 and just having one win, that just stresses you out.
Yeah.
But picking this one up now, moving to 2, moving way up in the standings, differentiating themselves from that pack at the bottom. Congratulations to Dignitas.
And hey, that now ties them in the standings in terms of series score. I don't know the match score off the top of my head. With the team they just beat, with NRG, things are going to stay volatile. Things are going to stay close as we approach the end of the regular split. 6 teams get to move on to playoffs. Those bottom 2 are not going to be very happy, and it still could go every which way but loose.
I think they're actually going to be completely tied. Both of them will be 5 and 8, and that's the second tiebreaker. So we'd move on. It's going to be very interesting. We'll have the playoff tool running for the next 2 weeks to see what actually happens. But what we do know for sure is they're now going to be a playoff team in 89% of the remaining scenarios. Congratulations once again.
You can see the smiles across the players' faces. Yeah. It's happiness, but also a feeling, like you already said, of relief to the same degree, right? When you're talking about the struggles this roster has had, when you're talking about the fact that so many of these names have been so recognizable for so long, right? Like Emily mentioned earlier on back in game number 1, everybody but Isles has won an LCS championship on this team.
Yes.
And so sitting at 1-4 coming into this week, not what you would expect. Really, really happy to grab the win here, especially with the dominant performance in game number 2.
Absolutely. I say it in the most respectful way possible, but they are the Boomer super team.
Yes.
So I feel like a lot of older players want to see them succeed. Because it means that your career is not over. It means you can keep playing. It means that that experience can bail you out at the end of the day. And their macro, their mid-late game was actually very clean. This is like this experienced stage way of winning.
Yeah, Dignitas looking good in that second one. And now it's time to join Basil, Jensen, and Spica for an interview.
Hello, guys. Say we're joined by
Jensen
and
Spica.
So congratulations on your 2-0. Maybe Dig season is real. I don't know. Can you guys tell me?
Of course. It never left, you know?
Oh, right. Yeah.
We're just taking it a bit slow because these games, they don't matter too much.
Oh, okay.
Playoffs, we're going to start
I mean, looks pretty easy. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, exactly.
So with an even harder challenge, because that was pretty easy, I drew a cat for you guys. You know, seeing Jensen on something that wasn't a control mage for the first time kind of scared me. So I gave you some fan art, and I wanted to challenge you guys to...
Yeah, it scared me as well.
I want to challenge you guys to draw your own little versions right here. Do you guys think you could do that?
Of a cat.
Yeah.
Of a cat.
It's right here, so...
I can definitely attempt it, but...
Yeah, go crazy.
You go first.
No,
you go first.
I need
You go
inspiration.
first.
I need inspiration.
Okay.
Scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors?
Wait, do we do
Winners.
shoot? Or rock, paper, scissors? On shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock.
I won!
It was best of 3, no?
No, it's not.
Let's go. Where'd your marker go?
Can you hold this? I need to like focus up here.
Oh, okay, yeah. This is serious. This is really serious, actually.
A cat. Wait.
My brother in Christ. The photo's right there. It's pre-drawn for you.
Have you seen one before?
This is taking a lot longer than I thought.
Looks like.
You got this, Jensen.
Thank you. But this, I can't copy this. This is like.
Just try your
version.
best.
It's your own version.
Oh, wow.
Wait, guys. Wait.
Oh, wow.
What is that?
It's the nose.
Okay. Oh.
Oh.
Do you want to explain what just happened? Wow. Spica, do you want to come here and critique the artwork for me?
Sorry?
Do you want to critique the artwork? This is your mid-laner's artwork.
I mean, he's a pro gamer. You know,
Yeah,
he's not an
yeah,
artist.
I think we can tell.
I'm glad he chose this instead of artist or being an artist. My turn.
Yeah,
Let me cook.
Yeah. Is there even room for you to cook here? He kind of took up a lot of the canvas, you know? Got a little distracted.
I mean, this one's gonna be hard to beat.
This posture is crazy, by the way.
We have Picasso here or something.
What's your... this is... Okay, sorry. So sorry. Okay. That's actually pretty good. That's actually pretty good. I don't know what happened there. It was good? Oh.
That's not a cat.
It looks like a pumpkin. Oh, it's kind of cute.
This is pathetic.
It's kind of cute. So, I can...
Okay, guys, I won, right? I win, right?
Okay, let's see. Who actually won? Scream if you think Jensen won. Okay, what about Spica?
What the fuck?
You might have just got wiped there. I'm so sorry, bro. You know who else got wiped, though? NRG. Good job, guys. Woo! Sorry, maybe too soon. Like, really soon, actually. But, yeah, what was harder, this or your last match?
This was definitely harder.
I think so. I think this one as well, yeah.
Yeah. Well, with your mid-jungle synergy, honestly, looked really good, looked really promising. What are you guys looking forward for your next match?
Who do you play?
I don't remember either.
It'll be a win.
Yeah.
It'll be a win.
Dig
yeah.
season,
Dig
right?
season, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us and drawing these cats, or at least kind of cats. And we're back to the casters. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's us. We're the casters.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't have to draw.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
Yeah, that was, we truly got to see some modern works of art. Now, let's go ahead and see what our standings are looking like here, my friend, because, again, like we talked about, with Dignitas taking that victory, they are now tied in matches against NRG, and they are one ahead in terms of game record.
True, it is the winning percentage of your game record, not number of wins, not number of losses, win percentage. So they're one ahead there of NRG. They temporarily move themselves up to 4th place.
All right, that goes ahead and sums up halfway through the first day here, and we are going to be right back with 100 Thieves versus Immortals. A quick break first. Don't y'all go anywhere.
Dude, why'd you put your new rig in the basement?
Didn't you hear? Bill's a good gillionaire now.
Basically, my new connection is so strong I can game anywhere. Check it out. We've got Gamer Rocker, Gamer Floaty, Gamer Couch,
Whoa.
It's got wheels.
Gamer Bench, Gamer Throne, and Gamer Mower.
What's that?
It's hard to game while walking downstairs.
I get it.
That's smart.
Live like a gagillionaire with low latency everywhere. AT&T Fiber with All-Fi.
Red Bull gives you wings.
I see you dancing, living it. We've been listening to this for a little bit. Watch me, baby, yeah, follow me.
Hello, I'm here with victorious top laner Licorice. First of all, I have to ask, what did you think of your teammates' drawing skills?
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Would you be able to beat them, do you think?
I think so. Like they had like a demo first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
that they did not follow, by the way.
Yeah. No, I think I would just follow the instructions, and then that'd probably secure the win for me.
That's a good way to go. Were you following instructions today when you locked in the Skarner?
Yeah, Skarner. It's like sort of good. I don't know. The laning is still really weak, and I think the last changes were actually a nerf. I was more happy playing Skarner before last patch or before this patch, whenever that changed. But I mean, if you get out of lane, you get items. It's like it's just Skarner. You know, it's the same as when they reworked it.
And then earlier in their interview, Spica kind of made a joke about how they're like, Jensen, you did great on the Zeri. And he was like, I was very concerned. Talk to me a little bit about the comps you guys locked in today, because it was a little bit of a change for the overall team.
Yeah. I mean, we just kind of expected them to have different prios. Like, so we ended up on drafts that we weren't like, we hadn't practiced at all. So we were playing Champions Standard that we hadn't really practiced. But I mean, we just think like Ashe is strong. You get prio. You have like the pick potential with arrow, and then like you fill in with tanks and like top and support, and then jungle picks whatever he wants, and mid also seems like they just pick a random AD carry. Like they just click the marksman tab, and then like.
True.
So yeah, I don't know. Drafting seems pretty simple right now.
And with this victory, you actually now have a higher game record than NRG. So technically you are in the standings above them in fourth place currently with one match to go. What is the outlook on the team? Because I know you guys have had a lot of really tough losses, even when you've been able to kind of punch up and get single game wins against better teams.
Yeah, it's like, I think the general feeling is that we're really talented players, and that we could win, and that right now we aren't winning. I mean, like today we obviously won, so that's awesome, but we haven't been like getting the wins, especially like against the top teams. Then we had like the 0-2 to Shopify, which was really bad. So I don't know. I think like I'm just feeling really relieved that we actually won today. Like I was really nervous for the game, because I think this was a really big one for playoffs, and I think that if we can get into playoffs, then we can improve through playoffs and hopefully win that way.
All right, awesome. Well, all the best. Thank you for taking the time, and we'll see you on the other side for 100 Thieves versus Immortals.